Cooper Kupp has officially been released by the Los Angeles Rams. The Jets have released Aaron Rodgers. We're talking Cooper Flagg. We're talking Tyrese Halliburton's miracle 4-point play game winner. Also, 3 pitchers the Yankees should consider trading for with Garrett Cole out for the year. That's coming up next on The Big Lead. What is up, and welcome to The Big Lead. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you're new to The Big Lead, the hottest stories in all of sports in less than an hour, you're going to hear it here Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock. Join the movement. Also, once we get to 2,000 subscribers, we are giving away a brand new authentic Lakers number 77 Luka Doncic jersey. All you have to do to be eligible to win is subscribe to the channel and comment Luka Magic down below. Throw one of those magic emojis I've seen you guys do. So definitely comment, subscribe, have the notification bell on. I got my man J-Rob, as always, rocking with us from the Player's Choice, former D1 college football player. I got Noel Sanchez, Noise by Noel. You know him from Dodgers Nate. You know him from his channel, Noise by Noel. And we'll check in with them in just a second. But we've got a lot of news to get into, a lot of hot stories. And the first one is some breaking news, and it's about Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has been informed by the Los Angeles Rams that he is going to be released. Now, the Rams have tried in the last couple of weeks to find a team to trade him to, and it was always going to be difficult to do just because of the contract. And now the Rams, they're going to be taking on the $20 million that he's due on his contract. They're going to save $7.52 million in cap space, but it was never going to be tenable once the Rams brought back Matthew Stafford. And clearly there was a conversation, for what I was told with Matthew Stafford and the negotiations behind that, was that part of it was, we're going to surround you with the best talent possible to pursue another Super Bowl trophy. And what they end up doing? Well, you brought in Devontae Adams, a $44 million deal with $26 million guaranteed last Sunday. So that was the nail in the coffin for Cooper Kupp and the Los Angeles Rams. And I think what's left now for Cooper Kupp is, where do you want to go now? Because you're going to get money, you're going to get paid, but you can pick which team you want to go to. And for any team that's looking to sign Cooper Kupp, that is hoping to get the 2021 Super Bowl MVP, the Super Cup, that put together a Triple Crown season where he had 145 catches, 1,947 yards, led the league with 114.5 yards per game, won a lot of people fantasy leagues that season. It's been a different Cooper Kupp since. He played 17 games that season. Then the following year, played 9 games. After that, 12 games, and then 12 games. Has not played a full season in 3 years. Since that legendary season for Cooper Kupp, he's missed so much time. And that has been the biggest issue for him. He's missed time. He doesn't get the same level of separation. And that's going to be the big issue for him. Since that 1 year, he's missed 18 games in the last 3 years. So that's been the big issue for Cooper Kupp. He's missed 18 of 51 games. So the availability hasn't been there. But I will say, for someone that's going to be extremely motivated to go out there and help a team, we'll see who he decides to sign with. Because by releasing him ahead of June 1st, the Rams did save $7.5 million. They take on $22.3 million in dead money. He's going to get money. So if I'm Cooper Kupp, I'm going to the best situation that gives you that chance to go on that redemption tour, to get that level of revenge. Now, who are some of those teams that I think could be interested in Cooper Kupp? We'll see if the Kansas City Chiefs are interested, because there were some talks that Kansas City was very close to trading for him last trade deadline, and he was being dangled as a trade chip. It was before the Chiefs were able to get that move and to get Hopkins, and they were very, very high on the possibility of doing that. And the thing with the Chiefs is he wouldn't be doing the same things he's doing in Sean McVay's system with the run blocking, with being extra physical. So that, to me, I mean, they're going to get Rashee Rice back at some point, and there are some other potential fits for him there. But I mean, he's a guy that it just depends on what version are you getting. I mean, in New England, I think would be a great fit. Not because New England is going to compete for a Super Bowl, because they have the most cap space in the league, because you have a Drake May who's a rookie quarterback, you give him some support. Pittsburgh was a team that was rumored to be interested in Cooper Kupp. Chicago adding weapons, having a really nice offseason. I don't know what their cap situation was like, but they are adding a ton of weapons this offseason. So there are some teams out there that are going to be interested just because of the price tag. Are you going to get an elite Cooper Kupp? I don't think so, but could you still get a productive one that can help teams? Certainly. I think Seattle makes a lot of sense. Tyler Lockett's gone. DK Metcalf is gone. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba stepping into that number one spot. I could see them being interested, and maybe he wants to stay in the division, stay on the West Coast. The Raiders are a team that could be interested in him. And then how about the Dallas Cowboys? The Cowboys, they need reinforcements. They need help around CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks, he's on the open market. So Cooper Kupp on the Cowboys with Dak Prescott. You got some intermediate throws there, crossing routes, underneath stuff that he can definitely excel at. So you're going to hear from Cooper Kupp, but it's going to be interesting. Now, the other thing too, man, if you're the Rams, just think about this. Last two off seasons. Last one, Aaron Donald, he surprisingly shocked the world by having an announcement that no one saw coming. He retires. And in this offseason, Cooper Kupp gets cut. So the NFL, it comes at you fast. This sport is a business. If you're a fan of this team, if you're a big Rams fan, it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt, but you knew it was coming. But J-Rob, is there a team out there that you think makes sense for Cooper Kupp and you like him signing with?
I love that you said New England. That was a team that was on my short list. Ironically enough, I think he should stay in Los Angeles and join the Chargers.
You've been pushing for the Chargers. You're like the Chargers, like receiver PR guy.
I might be. I just feel like Justin Herbert has so much talent, and I feel like consistent pass catching would just be so beneficial to that team. And I would really just love to see Cooper Kupp get that resurgence level year. I would also consider maybe a team that's going to have a young quarterback. I mean, I love that you mentioned the New England Patriots, but also listen, maybe a Carolina Panthers. You know what I'm saying? I think Bryce Young showed a lot towards that back end of last year, and for a young quarterback, young team, he would be great. I think Cooper Kupp makes any young football team a lot better because of his veteran leadership, playoff success, things of that nature. But also, too, I think it puts him in a good situation to be targeted a lot, utilized. And if he's trying to still show, that he's able to play at a high level, I think playing on a team with like maybe lesser expectations could be beneficial for him. I could even, and if you're looking for a contender, staying in the AFC East, I mean, I would also consider the New York Jets or the Miami Dolphins, both teams who could look to pair their star receivers with other guys. I like Jalen Waddle in Miami. However, I do think they need a legitimate wide receiver 3 because I think the X and Y for them in Hill and Waddle, their style of play is very similar. I think you get more contrast when you add a Cooper Kupp. And I also think Cooper Kupp is real good balance for a guy like Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson because you have a real explosive X, but then you got a safety blanket in Cooper Kupp who's going to help you kind of just move the sticks, get you first downs, be a great third down receiver.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with Cooper Kupp, it's just 100% can you get close from a physicality standpoint to being where you can do the things you did, not when you were a Triple Crown winner, but just even before then, after then, where you were an above average receiver. And there's always room for a guy that can block, that can do all the things. And it's just kind of sad. I mean, this is a third round pick that goes from a third round pick out of Eastern Washington to become the Super Bowl MVP, to gain the game-winning catch in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 56, and that win over the Bengals. And then there's the for the love of the game route against the Buccaneers. I mean, the Rams don't even get to that Super Bowl if it wasn't for Cooper Kupp. But just a great career with the Rams. I mean, 634 catches, 7,776 yards, 57 touchdowns. The NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2021. Most yards by a wide receiver in a season, 1,655. Most catches by a receiver in a single postseason with 33. I mean, he almost mortgaged his future. That was like 2 seasons in one for Cooper Kupp. And yeah, is he a Hall of Famer? No. Will the Rams retire his number? Maybe. I think he means that much to the franchise, but be very interesting to see which team that he signs with. Now, another release, Aaron Rodgers. J-Rob's favorite player in the NFL, he has been released. And look, we know with Aaron Rodgers, it's a conversation of, okay, he is, by the team I him linked with was the Steelers. I still feel like that is a team that makes sense because you wouldn't ruin the culture of the Steelers. You're not going to do that with Mike Tomlin. And he's an upgrade to Russell Wilson. Is he an upgrade to Justin Fields? They didn't give him that full opportunity. But he's going to play again this league, and it's not going to be for the Jets, but it wasn't a great year for you in New York as a Jets fan, I'm guessing, right? 5-12 record.
I mean, it was awful. It was an awful year, and I'm glad Aaron Rodgers is gone. I think, with Aaron Glenn coming to the building, he's trying to make a cultural reset in terms of how that team operates, how the players in the front office and the coaching staff operate. He's trying to change life in New York. I do feel like if you left Aaron Rodgers in the building, Aaron Rodgers just commands. He's such a magnet to everything. He can draw so much attention. I really wouldn't want to see him on the Pat McAfee show every week when we only have 3 wins on the year. So I think Aaron Glenn saw a lot of those, factors and decided, we'll move on from this. We're going to start over. We're going to build a foundation from the ground up. We'll take a flyer on a player who is a commodity in Justin Fields. And in terms of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I really don't care where he goes. I don't think he has much playoff to Super Bowl level football left in him. I think somebody will be wasting their money to get like whatever he has left, but I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I think you have to buy into what he was. And the truth is, I mean, we've kind of done deep dives into his stats on the show. He's been good, hasn't been great, but he's not below average. But if you're a franchise, that's what I'm saying, like the Titans, a team where you're upgrade to Will Levis. I think the Steelers do make a ton of sense because they're kind of in limbo with their quarterback situation. And I mean, the funny thing is, there's the darkness retreats. There's all the things that come along with just getting into the Aaron Rodgers business that can kind of scare teams away. And Peter Schrager has reported that the Steelers are, quote, giving him some space and that it could be up to 4 weeks until Aaron makes his final decision. So maybe he's going to go into a darkness retreat, come out, and then if he sees his shadow, it'll be time for new. If he doesn't, it'll be 6 more weeks of free agency. I don't know how he does his off seasons, but it's going to be interesting to see. He also would say that Rodgers is making outrageously. So this is from a NFL beat writer, Mike Fisher, who said, so Rodgers is making outrageously selfish demands of teams again. Yep. There's a shock.
Sounds right. Also, speaking of the Steelers, before we switch topics, Darius Slay signs 1-year deal, $10 million fully guaranteed contract.
So there you go. Got some more moves. Darius Slay, he's had a career that is in a boat where he's still getting out there $10 million contracts, right? So
right.
Not a great year for him as a cornerback last season. His decline has just kind of gone pretty rapid so far, but nice breaking news right there. Yeah. But we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I think people are kind of sick and tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers just because it's kind of the same thing year after year now. And he's going to win the press conference. His teammates are going to say great things about him early on.
Toxic teammate.
But what's an example of it actually being, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, so when I look at a toxic player, I think they're toxic is they seem above reproach. And what I mean by that is they never take accountability to when they play bad, but when they play good, they want to be recognized for it. I think Aaron Rodgers has always given this off, is that when people disrespect Aaron Rodgers, or I don't even want to say disrespect. Anytime he's criticized for his play in the media, Doug, the guy talking is never, you don't have the qualifications to talk about me. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I have MVPs and this. And so I think that has always been his niche. And then when it comes to other players, he will throw you under the bus. And that's your quarterback. Like I've watched quarterbacks go through drops and blame themselves on the pass. I should have threw my receiver a better ball. I'm not saying I have to do that every time, but to come in, think you're going to change a culture, the arrogance that was displayed on the Pat McAfee show with Devontae Adams in that face, like, oh, we're about to change life. I got my boy back, and you don't do anything with it. I mean, ultimately, he's been blowing smoke of people's you-know-whats for years and has nothing to show for it. But he's also the guy who wants to blame everybody else for misunderstanding him because he's the smartest guy in every room he walks in. So
he's got that Cal vibe. He's got that Cal Berkeley vibe. Is that what you're trying to say?
Honest, I'm very much D-Mac, not somebody who really like criticizes players this hard. He is just the one player where I'm like, dude, you have some things that really are just not great to me when it seems to having a winning environment.
Did you see what Ryan Clark said about him? He said that adding Aaron Rodgers is like adding a Disney villain onto your team. Like he's Scar from Lion King. That's kind of tough.
He really is.
That's kind of tough.
He's Scar from Lion King.
That's kind of tough right there. I personally think that Aaron Rodgers is one of the best 15 to 17 quarterbacks in the NFL. In the right situation, he can help a team, but he does come with a ton of baggage. But switching gears, we are going non-football, non-basketball, non-baseball. We are doing our first topic. We are diving into the world of track and field. And there was a viral incident here. There was a Virginia high school sprinter. Her name is Alila Everett. And there's this shot right here. Look, oh, wow, come on now. We got a little picture of here. Here it is. I got an arrow. She's running down, and then she takes the baton and smacks one of her opponents in the back. And she's claiming that this was an accident. Now, she was a senior who was running the second leg for IC Norcom High School, a 4x200 meter relay team, where she allegedly hit Brookville High School's junior Kayleen Tucker at the VHSL Class 3 State Indoor Championships at Liberty University on March 7th. And there was some lip reading that was done after the fact. If you want to run that back, I don't know if you can see it from this angle. There's some alternate angles where they can catch her saying, "Get off," and that she had yelled things towards her. But a lot has been made about this just because people think it's a dirty play, and the parents of the girl that got hit that was on the other side of the baton, they wanted some action right there. I mean, they actually served her a court paper that requested a protective order. So they've taken some initiative here to take some action, and she was very upset about this. Of course, she's saying that it was not her, that was an accident. Here was her reaction to the baton incident.
Just a person by myself. Nobody's going to believe me because I can admit from the video it does look purposeful, but I know my intentions and I would never hit somebody on purpose.
Okay, first of all, run that back. Am I the only one that heard a fire alarm there? Do you guys hear the fire alarm?
Just a person by myself. Nobody's going to believe me because I can admit from the video it does look purposeful, but I know my intentions and I would never hit somebody on purpose.
Liar. And then she did that intentionally, and that's what sparked that fire alarm right there. But look, we have not only a D1 college football player with us, we also have a former track and field athlete in J-Rob. And I was the only person in the studio. We didn't get Sawyer's opinion on this. Show the clip to Sawyer real quick and see if he thinks it's intentional. But everyone has said that they think it's her. I'm siding with her on this one. But you know more than me when it comes to track and field. Do you think this was an accident, or do you think that this was intentional?
I mean, It's intentional, Doug. Like, I mean, D-Mac, this is as intentional as it gets. I've run track for years, my whole life, and I understand that in a race, sometimes as you know, you get more tired. Some of your form, you lose your form, and you're not running to the best standard. Your arms flail and stuff like that. But she cocked back and knocked her with the baton. And I don't care how much she cries. The Oscar goes to, because
she sold it.
She's selling it right now. And she's trying to sell it. Yeah, but I mean, come on, man. I do think that was as blatant as it gets. Clearly knocked her over the head with a baton. Uncalled for in the track of sport.
How heavy are those things? They seem pretty heavy.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
But it says after that. It says after that doctors examined her, and
because it is like aluminum, so it's hard, So if you
the back of the neck,
and if you hit somebody in the right spot with the right level of force, it's gonna hurt. I mean, she shouldn't be like they say like CTE or anything from it though.
They said concussion, possible skull fracture, and yeah, I mean she's getting it bad, man. She's getting death threats, which is never cool. Like, why? Racial slurs. I mean,
the racial slurs are ridiculous.
This is just I want to even if she did it intentionally, she doesn't deserve death threats or racial slurs.
She's still a kid.
So people. She said in a separate interview, they're assuming my character, calling me ghetto and racial slurs, death threats, all this off a 9-second video. And the family, they just kind of want an apology. They said, they were beside us at the event. They were watching the video at the event, but no one apologized or came to check in on her. Even if it was a fluke or a freak accident, you still check on her. Yeah, even like I said, that's a good point. If it was a freak accident, you definitely want to check on her. But Noel, what's your take on this? Was this intentional? Was it an accident?
I don't buy the whole accident. You clearly see the windup. You see the connection right to the back of the head neck area. I just think temper probably got to her in the moment. She's just a heated race. Maybe some words were exchanged between them earlier in the race, but I don't buy the whole accident, man. It's a really bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look out of frustration, and it kind of reminds me of like Draymond Green. She's like the Draymond Green of high school track and field, where he kicks a dude in the nuts, and swings on a dude and makes contact with her face, and it's like, oh, it's accidental. It wasn't me. So yeah, it could be a little bit of that too. But I mean, like I said, even if she did what she did intentionally, does not deserve the backlash that she is getting. So hopefully they resolve this. And hey, this is the most that high school track has probably been talked about in a long, long time. So yeah, it's a lot of buzz about that. But switching gears, let's go to Yankees. Let's talk some Yankees. The New York Yankees have had a pretty tumultuous up and down offseason. They made a lot of great signings. They've talked a lot about the Dodgers in the media, how the Dodgers have made certain comments about their playing style and their sloppy defense, and Aaron Judge dropping the ball and Anthony Volpe making the error and everything that happened in that disastrous 5th inning in Game 5 of the World Series. Well, the biggest blow to the Yankees has been losing out on their ace, Garrett Cole, who was recommended Tommy John surgery and is going to undergo Tommy John surgery, and he's going to be out for the entire 2025 season. If you look at recovery times, anywhere from 12 to 18 months, he'll be out for a portion of the 2026 season. And their general manager, Brian Cashman, said that, quote, very little is available in the pitching marketplace at this time of year. Said the Yankees will, quote, rely on what we have while exploring outside opportunities. Luxury tax penalties make it less likely that they will add from outside. So it does not seem like the Yankees are going to be aggressive in trying to add another starter. They are confident that what they have with the addition of a Max Fried, with Luis Gil, who's going to be out for months dealing with a shoulder injury, that hopefully they'll get it together and they'll be good enough to compete in the AL East and hopefully the World Series. I mean, outside of the Dodgers, they have the best chances of getting back to the World Series and winning the World Series. But if you look at their rotation now, it goes from a top 10 rotation, possibly a top 5 rotation, to one that's bottom 15. I mean, Carlos Rodon If you look at their projections this season, Rodon, 173 innings, ERA over 4. Max Fried, 176 innings, a 3.42 ERA. Clark Schmidt has improved for them, but he's a 4 ERA guy. Marcus Stroman, a 4.41 ERA guy. So you don't see outside of Max Fried a true surefire ace level pitcher. And I think the Yankees have a very simple decision to make. It's either find a way to add a frontline starting pitcher on the trade market, or you can kiss your World Series hopes goodbye. Now, who are some guys they could consider going after? Number one on their list has to be Sandy Alcantara, the Miami Marlins. He's been great so far during this spring, coming back from his own Tommy John surgery. And the Marlins are always a team that's going to pick up the phone. They're always going to listen to offers because that's the kind of franchise they are. And Sandy Alcantara, his contract, he's signed through 2026. He's making $17 million a year, has a 2027 team option for $21 million. If he produces like an ace under that contract, you're getting a ton of value from that. He would be my number one guy if I were the New York Yankees. Try to get Sandy Alcantara. Feels like a Yankee, looks like a Yankee starter that you could trust in the postseason. And the truth of the matter is, with Garrett Cole, the thing about Garrett Cole is really interesting to me, and this hurts me. Like I keep it. I just try to say the truth, right? He's a former UCLA Bruin, but I got to say the truth about Garrett Cole is he opted out of his 4-year, $144 million contract. There weren't that many teams lined up for his services. The Yankees, they could have said, "Hey, thank you for your time here. Thanks for your service, and we are going to understand the reality of starting pitchers that throw at high velocity and understand that you have dealt with elbow inflammation and elbow issues, and you've tried to stay on the mound, you've tried to avoid surgery as much as possible." And they had that get out of jail free card and they didn't use it. And now you get him back on that 4 years, $144 million, essentially the same as the opt-out, and he's not going to be playing for you. So there wasn't a great market for his services, and they said, you know what, let's bring him back, as if it was going to be an easy decision. So the Yankees are stuck. Sandy Alcantara would be my number one option. Number two would be Dylan Cease, though. The Padres are the big wild card in all this, because the Padres are a team that they're competing with the Dodgers in the division. They had the Dodgers on the ropes last year, but Dylan Cease is someone that could be an available option for the Yankees. And they were close to trading for Dylan Cease a couple years ago. His contract, $13.75 million. He's going to hit free agency after this year. Michael King, wouldn't it be funny if the Padres got Michael King back, the guy that was dealt in the Juan Soto trade? He's set to make a little close to $8 million this season with a $50 million mutual option. So the reason why we have to include dollar amounts is because the Yankees aren't the Yankees anymore. George Steinbrenner's Yankees, the evil empire, is on the West Coast now in the Dodgers, and they're a little more cost conscious than they used to be. Zach Eflin of the Orioles, he's another guy. Ranger Suarez is another guy that could be available. Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners, he's under contract until 2027. He's taking home $22.75 million a year, has a $25 million vested option. So that's interesting. I think Castillo's another name that I'd highly consider. The Yankees almost traded for Castillo a couple years before he was dealt to the Mariners. So names will emerge, but if the Yankees think that they're going to get back to the Fall Classic with this rotation, a Giancarlo Stanton who's banged up and possibly facing surgery himself, I think they're going to be mistaken. And this really points to the bigger picture in the sport. Starting pitching injuries just happen. There was a study that was done by Major League Baseball. It was a 62-page report that was released in December, and there were a lot of very, very interesting findings. Think about how wild this is. In 2024, you had so many injuries, and in 2024, you had Spencer Strider, Shane Bieber. I mean, they went down with just 2 starts. Cole, Blake Snell even went down to start the season. Alcantara, Shane McClanahan, Shohei Ohtani, Brandon Woodruff. I mean, all these names is dropping like flies. I mean, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw, they went down. I mean, just 33 starts among them all. And you don't see year to year starting pitchers stay on the mound. I mean, this study showed that only three of the top 20 starting pitchers from 2023 made it to 2024 because of injuries. I mean, there's just so many injuries in the sport. And the number one factor is velocity. That's the number one factor. Players are coached to throw as hard as they can every single pitch they throw. In 2008, the average fastball was 91.3 miles per hour. Last season, it was 94.2 miles per hour. The velo's been up on the slider, the curveball, the changeup, and you're seeing Tommy John surgeries skyrocket at a record rate. Major League Baseball has an injury problem. It truly, truly does have an injury problem, and the number one culprit is max effort on the mound for pitchers. So it's tough because the resolution to this is are you really going to tell pitchers to not throw as hard? Because the harder you throw, the more you get paid. So it's going to be a tough situation for Major League Baseball and losing pitchers, and there's really not an answer for it. But Yankees, you got to go out there and get your guy. Get a frontline starting pitcher. I want to see it because I want to see the Yankees go deep in the postseason in a possible rematch with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But let's switch gears to the biggest media versus player battle that we've seen in recent years. That's Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron James. Now, a couple weeks ago, we covered on this show. You guys know the story. LeBron confronted Stephen A. for comments that he made about his son, Bronny James. Stephen A. just stood there and he took it, and he was pretty apologetic about how he made some comments about him as a father, and it felt like they had kind of resolved it and they were going to kind of let it die out. And then Stephen A. Smith, he appeared on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and he had some comments about the whole incident and LeBron James. And here's what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
You had called me and said, Bron pissed off. Motherfucker mad as hell. He want to see you man to man. I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd flew to LA. I said, thank you. So my point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. That's all he had to say to me. Then as we speak, he says that. Let's take an example. He said what you just said. Yeah. I stand down. My bad. And not only that, I'm going to make sure I go on the air. I ain't look at it that way. That's on me. You didn't do that shit. You said you fucking with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. I was talking about you. Wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Woo. I believe that he got potential. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential to go pro. I truly believe that. It's going to be tough, but I think he could pull it off.
So there was Stephen A. Smith, and his whole point there is that he wasn't directly attacking Bronny James. He wasn't bringing up his point totals or his field goal percentage or his numbers in the G League or anything like that. The fact that the crowd chants MVP and he's essentially the Lakers' victory cigar because he only plays when the Lakers are up big or anything like that, right? He was pointing out that LeBron James has essentially put him in this position, and he set his son up for extra ridicule that he doesn't think that he would normally have if he was any other kid's son in the position that he's in. And if I'm LeBron James, look, it's pretty simple. It's gloves are off. It's we're throwing hands if you're calling me a bad father. Period. End of story. And I have no issue here. This is the weird thing. I have no issue with what LeBron did, and I have no issue with what Stephen A. Smith did. But the only issue I do have is Stephen A. Smith acting like the tough guy after the fact. I said it on the show where we broke this down initially that he was Chris Tucker from Friday, and LeBron James was Debo, and he was Chris Tucker, and he was saying, I'd be playing mind games with LeBron. When he's here, I'd be quiet, but when he leaves, I'll be talking again. That's exactly what Stephen A. Smith has done in this situation. So I really don't look, personal story. I cover the Dodgers. I've had players confront me in the clubhouse for things that I've said, and my face, it turns into a tomato, and I blush and I get nervous and I'm not happy about it. Right. having said that, this is the route that I chose, right? I have my opinions. That's all I got. That's all I got in life is my opinions and my takes on this stuff. And there's two routes you can go. When Stephen A. Smith was with the Philadelphia Inquirer, he was a great, people don't know this about, like some people don't realize this about Stephen A. Smith. Like he was a tried and true journalist with a capital J for a long, long time. And you can push boundaries, but it's kind of just about being the paper of record, right? Telling you the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, giving the facts, what happened. But when you go from being a journalist to entering the takes business, people don't pay you or watch your shows because you're just telling them the facts. They want your unique opinion on said matter. And sometimes that opinion can ruffle some feathers and rub some people the wrong way. So this comes with the territory of having bold takes like Stephen A. Smith. But I think the resolution to all this is just keep Bronny's name out of your mouth. Keep LeBron's father abilities out of your mouth. Because what he's essentially saying is this. To me, what Stephen A. Smith is essentially saying is this, is that Bronny would be a G League nobody if it weren't for you. And that you forced this onto him. And it's almost like you didn't take into consideration what Bronny wanted. Did Bronny want to stay at USC? Did Bronny want to transfer somewhere and play in college? Did he want to be an anonymous G League type of guy? Because the truth is, if Bronny James's name was like Chris Smith, right, and he played for USC, he wouldn't have been drafted. He wouldn't have been signed by a team for the G League based on his skill level the year that he had at USC. But having said that, you're Bronny James, and LeBron James, your dad. People are going to take a flyer on you based on that alone. So I have no issue with both of them. I really don't. My issue I have with Stephen A. Smith not being the same tough guy in front of LeBron.
Yeah, I would say, I think my biggest issue with what Stephen A. said was him calling like LeBron like it was a weak thing to do. And the reason I don't think it was a weak thing to do is because like he did it in front of your face, you know, like he walked up to the man and said, listen, like
no towel.
Yeah. Like not. Yeah. And the thing is too, you know, most guys, they cover their mouth to say something. Like he was very like, you're talking about my son. I don't appreciate it. And there's that. And so, yes, Stephen A. Smith may felt like it was a weak move, but I don't think it was weak to stand up for your kid. Like you felt like he was disrespecting your kid. And everybody has a lot of opinions about Bronny James. And the reality is the one issue that I have, and you know, Stephen A. is one of my, you know, the people that I chase in this industry to be like one day. But in saying that, you know, when you go on your own show and put a low light of Bronny playing against the 76ers, as you talk about him, it can seem kind of personal. And then you go on TV and say, as a father, I'm pleading with you. But D-Mac, nobody asks, did Bronny not want to be in the NBA? Did Bronny not want this for himself? Because I'll say this, he's averaging 21, 4 and 5 in the G League. And regardless if they took a flyer on him or not, there's guys who were drafted before and after him who not even.
You bring up a good point. I love J. Rod. You bring up like you looking up to Stephen A. Smith. I look up to him too because he is setting the market and getting the biggest bag for this industry. Right?
You know what's possible now.
If Stephen A. Smith was my dad, right, and I was just graduated college and he got me a job hosting a show on ESPN, I'm like, let's ride, baby. Let's do it.
I'm not stopping.
Show starts at 2. You might hate it, but I'm going to take that opportunity just because, like, who's going to say no to that?
And the other part, doesn't he put his nephew all over his show now? His nephew has become a viral hit on the internet. And who gave him that opportunity? That's literally nepotism. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne Wade bought a NBA franchise for his son. We never talked about it. Nobody ever cared. You know what we did? We applauded D-Wade for it. We applauded it.
So here's the thing though, like my whole thing is, and we've talked about it on the show before, is there's like 3 guys in the history of this game that you would do a wink handshake solid for. LeBron James, one of those guys. If the Lakers where they were last season, with the way that LeBron James still plays at this stage of his career, with the Lakers looking macro, big picture, yelling to all the superstars in the history of the game, come the Lakers, sign with us. Demand trades us. We'll pay you. We'll take care of you. You'll live in a beautiful mansion in Southern California. We want that to be our identity, the ultimate superstar franchise. If LeBron James wanted the Lakers, to take Bronny with their first round pick,
They would have took him.
they would have done it and I would have done it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, as crazy as that sounds,
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
like this is one of like maybe the only guy, right? I mean, MJ's son, no, right? He wasn't even there, but MJ, if he wanted to, I'm sure a team would have, right?
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
Right? So
He could have drafted him to he was the owner of the Hornets.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think, so the cool thing about this is I will say this. There has been, like I say, I did say that, I thought Bronny James would retire before LeBron James. I've had my fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I think that the good thing about this for Bronny James, and I think LeBron is one of the most intelligent, one of the most calculated
For sure.
superstars in the history of sports.
I agree.
And I think you bring up a great point that it was almost like I was surprised not to see like an undisputed, not an uninterrupted logo
Yeah.
on this incident, because it felt like LeBron like knew the camera was there and he knew this was going to go viral and get out. And kind of one of those things for LeBron, it's almost like, hey, now people are kind of on Bronny's side now. Now people are like, F Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Look, either a father, you have a father, you did it. Like people connect with that, right? So I think almost LeBron is kind of doing this thing like, hey, like now people want to say, Bronny scored 12 points. F you, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Bronny coming off the bench next year, giving him good minutes. F you, Stephen A. Smith. So you kind of created that same thing. And hopefully this makes life easier for Bronny James. At the end of the day, like it is a tough thing for Bronny, but I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, what's the worst? I mean, you have generation wealth, you're a billionaire,
Exactly.
good looking dude. Like, I mean, what's
seemed
his
like a good
floor?
kid.
What's his life floor? You know what I'm saying?
Life
Like,
floor is millionaire.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
He could probably be an actor after if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He could do whatever he wanted after this.
he'll be the coach of the Las Vegas Vipers, right?
He could be a streamer.
He could be
go
a
back to
streamer.
Phase, like if he
I
wanted to
saw
coach at
someone
USC,
asked
he
him. So there was
probably
someone that asked him a crazy question on his stream about Wade.
Isaiah Wade.
Yeah. What was that?
That was back in the pandemic when he was going live, but people get carried away with NBA children trying to catch them.
In all seriousness, I mean, Noel,
Yeah.
you're a thoughtful guy. The father thing, it kind of strikes a chord.
100%. I mean, and I respect Stephen A. for saying this off the bat, that the man that came to him in that game wasn't a player. It was a father. Like, he wasn't saying, like, don't talk about my son's stats. Don't do this. Don't talk about my stats. He was just saying, like, keep my son out of it. Like, how are you questioning me as a father?
Right.
I think you said it best too, Doug, that people connect with LeBron on this instance, either whether you're a father, whether you think about your dad when he's protected you, when he's been at your games. And yeah, I think LeBron knows what he's doing. And I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how the narrative around Bronny shifts moving forward.
Really, for sure, 100%. I think it's going to be really interesting. And like I said, like they're like Stephen A. Like think about like Stephen A. Smith's identity, right? Like he's entertaining, right? But he also knows his stuff. But when the Cowboys lose, bro, you go on his Instagram.
Yeah.
You can't wait to try and just say, how about them Cowboys? Hopefully that'll be the same thing when Bronny James has a good game, right?
Yeah,
You want to go to Stephen A. Smith, like, oh, what do you got to say about Bronny James, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of flip the script on it. But speaking of parents, we got to talk about Cooper Flagg's mom. So let's talk about Cooper Flagg's mom. The Duke Blue Devils, they beat UNC in their regular season finale. And there was this moment where Cooper Flagg has this throwdown dunk, and you got to love mama in the crowd celebrating, not just celebrating, but hits him with the on his effing head. The on his fucking head celebration. And she's looking, she's feeling it. They got her just in 4K and just pure exhilaration mode. And I love it. I love it. And his mom, Kelly Bowman Flagg, can follow her on Instagram, says, I appreciate all of you who have supported us all season long, especially last night after my call for bail money. There were many willing to start to GoFundMe and several others ready to write at dawn. I also want to apologize to anyone who was offended by my language that was caught in a celebratory moment. I do realize that it wasn't my best look. However, if you actually know me and are a real friend of mine, you weren't shocked. It was a very intense situation we were put into, and we were taken aback by the crudeness of the UNC fans as we made our way into the arena. They continued to harass us with much worse being spewed in our direction, as well as our 18-year-old son and his teammates throughout the entire game. The celebration was a moment of being so proud of our kid, and also a big F you to the entire Carolina fan base for being classless a-holes. If you're a UNC fan and didn't like it, tough as better luck next time. Go Duke. Holy smokes. Take that shirt she was wearing and hang it up at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Mom of the year. Mom of the year.
I mean,
Facts.
we got to get her on the show. I mean, that is just, I was thinking something very like, he's got to be, Mom, apologize. Mom, you can't. And she like doubled, tripled down.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was almost like she did the dunk herself. And it was just a great moment. Look, that's a dirty rivalry, man.
Yeah.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
It's the best rivalry in college basketball.
Yeah.
Second best in, Ohio State, Michigan's first, but
It's sports. We're number one in sports.
yeah.
For sure.
But when it comes to hoops, these
Yeah,
two, that's the Ohio State, Michigan of hoops.
This is
right?
the one easily.
And to have that, I saw it in real time, and I was like, oh my Lord, like she's just like going off, and I love how she's like, no, and the dad's like, like very kind of buttoned up with it, but when you saw Stillwell, man, I mean, first of all, we saw the moment, and just kind of thoughts on Cooper Flagg as a player.
So first on the moment, I've had a couple of teammates where the mom is the energetic one and the dad is more laid back, like, all right, when she's yelling at the refs, you got to pull her back, calm her down, make sure you guys don't get kicked out the game. But I absolutely love this. I think it's perfect for a guy like Cooper Flagg, who's still young, pretty much the face of college basketball right now, to have a mom like this yelling for him, showing that emotion. It's excellent because it shows that he has the support behind him. And, I'm a guy, even though it's not a popular opinion, I think he should come back for that second year in Duke. Look at how they're already loving his parents. Look how they're loving his mom. I think the love that she's getting from this fan base, it's only going to further pursue him. I love when the crowd was chanting one more year when he was leaving his last home game. So, I thought it was a great moment. I think Cooper's an excellent prospect, and I think another year in college can only make him better. He's still super young. He's still definitely going to be a lottery pick, and I just think he might go to a team that he's better suited for versus going to a Charlotte or like any other team that gets a lottery pick.
Yeah, I think Noel's trying to save Cooper Flagg from the Wizards.
Yeah.
The Wizards, man.
I would love him on the Hornets as a LaMelo Ball fan, but do not send that man to the Wizards. Yeah.
Hey, if you're a great player, you can turn a franchise around. But
Absolutely.
I was thinking of that moment I was thinking about that Conor McGregor moment a couple years back when I was reading her post and apology. It was like, it started pretty eloquent. And remember, and Conor McGregor's like, I'd like to take this moment. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. And she's like double down. So I love that. But as far as him as a player, clearly the best player in college basketball as a freshman. He's lived up to the hype defensively, offensively. He's grown all season long, and that's what you want to see from a player that has such a high ceiling. You did mention the Washington Wizards as the team that you don't want to see him go to, but look, he's a baller, man, and it's going to really come down to the tank situation. The Wizards, though, you got the worst record in the league, right? The Jazz right behind them. Jazz 15-30. Hornets, your Hornets 16-48. The Pels 17-48. So really, Washington, you want to finish at one of the league's worst records. So you get the 14% chance. So it's a 40% chance. So there's going to be some twists and turns. It's always a little bit of a surprise. But from the East Coast, from Maine. My man's from Maine.
Main event.
The main event. I love that.
That's a cold nickname.
I love that. That is cold.
Real quick,
yes.
Off the top of your head, give me his NBA comp. It could be a current or a retired player.
Well, my one originally I came up with was Karolinko.
Okay.
But this was before I saw more of him play, because I think that his ceiling is obviously, dude had like a 42-point game in college, right? His scoring ability is much better than Karolinko, but it's just as far as his versatility and his ability to score on the inside, the outside, the defense. I've heard people compare his defense to KG as at his peak as far as just how athletic he is. He's tough. He's got a little bit of a tweenerness to him, to his game. But if you could shoot 37.7% from beyond the arc as a freshman, if you could be a 39% shooter and a 20-point scorer, and you're gonna get he's gonna be one of those guys that puts up stats where he's like a 20, if he's like a 23-8-5 guy, like early on in his career.
Yeah.
That's what's exciting to me is he doesn't force shots. He's not a straight scorer. Sees the floor pretty well. He's a willing defender. But yeah, you got a comp for me though?
Man, I've thought about this for a while, and it's kind of crazy because watching MPJ in high school, what amazed me so much was his ability to get up so high and get to different spots of the floor. And and just to be able to hit shots. Obviously, MPJ got hurt. He's not that player anymore, but I do see some flashes of that MPJ scoring ability because MPJ, he had a handle to him, but he had a way of just getting to the midi and scoring. Defense-wise, I think that's really where his real like unicorn ability is. And I've seen Kevin Garnett. I've seen a little bit of Giannis in him. Andre Karolinko is also a great comparison. I also kind of think like a slightly taller Gordon Hayward in a way. What prime Gordon Hayward on Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
I think
Hayward was such a smooth shooter.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, coming out of high school too, I didn't think Cooper was gonna be able to put the ball on the floor the way he has at Duke. That's what surprised me a lot.
It was funny because, like, just kind of seeing the way he kind of scores with just face of the basket pivots. I mean, I saw some like Brandon Ingram scoring a little bit in him, but I've seen some wild comps, bro. Like,
People are saying Jason Tatum.
People are saying Tatum. I've seen people say Baby Braun.
Yeah.
I've seen people saying Baby KD.
No.
Well, I don't think I kind of cringe when I hear the word like generational talent because Victor Wembanyama was a generational talent.
It's thrown around.
Yeah.
It's way too.
He's just
loose at
the
this
best prospect in this draft that has the chance to be a multi-time All-Star, right? But hey, good for him. Good for him. Honestly, like great to see him live. I think there's some juice about his name. It's like when Zion came out, he's not quite at where Zion was from a hype standpoint, but I think his stock and his lore can go up exponentially in the next month.
Absolutely.
With a deep run.
100%,
And if this is the best Duke team I've seen in a long, long time. And if they win it all, I mean, you're going to be more hyped about them.
I just hate that they got to play a number 8 UConn out of the gate. Oh my God.
That's the worst reward for being on the one line.
It's
I can't
the
imagine
worst
that.
reward you can ask for to have to play potentially number 8 UConn.
It's a trap
in the
game with
second
nothing to
round
lose,
of the-
essentially.
Yes,
coming
like,
off
oh my
titles.
God.
Yeah, I will say that I'm hoping for his sake that he gets some more hateability. For some reason, we don't hate him like we hated JJ Redick back in the day, right? I mean, he doesn't. For some reason, he doesn't have that Duke hateability. And I think that's kind of a credit to him. I mean, there's something about him for sure. But he's not like Grayson Allen. We hated Grayson Allen on Duke.
No, I think part of the reason is because also the draft buzz that he's getting. Because I know Grayson Allen was up there. I didn't get to see JJ Redick play at Duke. I was too young.
He was so good.
Even
Oh,
Austin
Lord.
Rivers got some hate.
No, he did. But peak JJ Redick, what was like his? What do you think he was going to go in the draft? Or his
He was really good. I
he was
mean,
really
he was a
good.
lottery
I know
player
he
for
was
sure. But he wasn't that a crazy athletic guy. But yeah, I mean, I believe went to the Magic, right?
I just
And
don't know how high, but yeah, I think that's part of the reason because Cooper is viewed as like a guy that could come in and help the NBA. I think that's part of the reason why.
there was a time JJ Redick. Basically, him and Christian Laettner are the two most hated Duke players of all time.
I hate Christian Laettner. That's a classic.
Yeah, no, it's a great one for sure. Sticking with hoops, crazy 4-point play to win the game. Tyrese Halliburton against the Milwaukee Bucks. Look at this play right here. Gets it, 3-point shot, buries it.
Is that a foul?
I mean, that's the thing. It was a little soft.
It was like a 5-minute review too.
It was a long review. You got the foot kind of making some contact. My favorite thing, though, was Darvin Ham being caught with the hands in his pocket. Somehow, some way, Darvin Ham, in a pressure situation, he gets caught with the hands in his pocket. Darvin Ham didn't even look like he was at the game. He looked like he was thinking about his dinner reservations or something other than basketball in that moment. But credit to Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, he goes out there. Not only does he hit it, but he makes the free throw to win it and get the dub for the Pacers. And yeah, it was funny to think it's funny that's like a Damian Lillard shot against a Damian Lillard team. I wonder if Paul George thinks that's a good shot or not. Do you think Paul George thought that was a good shot right there? But I mean, I look at his line too. Why the hell is Halliburton only taking 12 shots and attempting 6 threes for the Pacers? But I mean, hey, but run that back one more time. I just look at. I will say that this is probably one of the weaker closing seconds fouls I've ever seen. If that is a foul, then Steph Curry should have 2,000 4-point plays in the course of his career. Yeah. But great moment for the Pacers. But man, any thoughts on the Pacers?
I mean, I thought it was a good shot. I like the Pacers. They don't really move me in the Eastern Conference. I'll be honest. I definitely think they overachieved last season for sure. I still feel like I like Miles Turner. I like kind of the nucleus they're trying to build because they're still a relatively young team. But they do need that you need a star next, like another star next to Halliburton. I think he's budding into, you know, what he's becoming, but I would love to see them pair him with somebody. And I like Pascal Siakam, but I'm talking about like a tier 1, tier 2, top of tier 2 level all-star player.
Yeah, for sure. I think the thing with Pascal that's been interesting, and the reason why the Pacers have been so competitive the past few weeks, because since the All-Star break, he's been playing like one of the best players at his position, and he's looking like the old Pascal running the break. And you think back to last postseason, the Pacers, even though they got swept, that was like the closest 4-game sweep I've seen in a while. They were pretty much in every game. They were just blowing leads at the end. So they're an interesting team, and I think that offense they run, even though it slows down in the postseason, they're still a scary team to any one of those top seeds.
No doubt about it. I mean, the East Pacers, good moment, but not contenders. They're gonna be in Cancun sooner than a lot of teams. But last thing, this has been going absolutely viral, and it's the MLB New Era hats that are a little shocking when you look at it. I mean, first one that stands out is the Houston Astros one that says "asshos," literally says "asshos," and then there's the Angels that says Anelas. Was it Anals? The Anals. Long live the Anals. You got the Bobons.
The Brewers.
The Boston Bobons.
I like the Brewers.
But of course, the one that is making all the headlines. One of these hats, keep it on there, my man, and Tony. There. One of these hats has been taken off of Fanatics. And which one is it? Third row, fifth hat. It's the Texas Tetas. The Texas Free the Tetas. They've taken this off of Fanatics, and this hat has created a buzz to the point where it's on eBay for $1,000 for the Texas Tetas hats. But yeah, I mean, 29 teams you can get, but not that one. I still have to get it. But the Bobone, the asshos, the anals. I mean, yeah, it's we didn't get a chance to ask you, J-Rob, which was your. Let's put that on the screen back for J-Rob. Which do you like your Yankees one? What does the Yankees one say, Antonio? Where is it?
Nah, that look valid to me. Yankees, because look, but it's a Y-A and then the N-Y. Yeah, Yankees looks fine. Mine looks fine. I mean, honestly, this is when I see stuff like this, D-Mac, this is when it's like, why can't I be in the creative office at New Era to talk about this? Because essentially, right, somebody said, let's take the logo and let's just put the full name of the team behind it. Didn't really do much too creative.
I will say
ended up messing that up.
I will say though, I do like the Dodgers one. I think the Dodgers one is the best one.
You're biased.
I think the Dodgers one looks kind of clean.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the Padres one. The most. The Padres to me seems the most.
After seeing this again from
the Passities.
The Passities. Yeah, I like the Passities.
After seeing this again from the earlier show, I messed with the Brewers cap.
Let me see the Brewers. What row? Oh, the Brewers. Last row. Okay, this one says Brewers.
Brewers.
I take seeing these close up again. I kind of mess with the vision. I'm like, no,
I kind of like the Mariners too. Honestly, the Mariners isn't too bad. But actually, no, that Colorado Rockies one is not too bad either. It's not terrible.
Yeah. What does the Diamondbacks one say?
Ariana.
How do you say the Mariners?
Isn't that spider in Spanish?
yeah.
Yeah,
Shout
there
out
you
to
go.
me for paying
there
attention.
you go. But yeah, that go pick them up. But before they're all sold out. I need my asshos one. I need my Tetas one. And I need the Dodger blue one. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Big Lead. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you are new to the channel, join the movement. The hottest stories in sports in less than an hour, Monday through Friday here on The Big Lead. If the streets are talking about it, we will be talking about it here. All things sports all week long. And we are doing a giveaway. Lakers fans, this is kind of an unofficial Lakers podcast. Let's be honest. Lakers fans, we are giving away a Luka Doncic authentic number 77 jersey. All you have to do to win is comment Luka Magic down below. And once we hit to 2,000 subscribers, we'll be giving it away to one lucky winner. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. And until next time, I'm out.